60 years ago, a remarkable vehicle was shown to the world for the very first time. It was the original Land Rover. This year, Land Rover celebrates its Diamond Jubilee and looks ahead to the next 60 years. Yet it all came about on a beach in Anglesey, off the coast of North Wales.
Just after the Second World War, the Rover company was starting up again. It wanted to produce motor cars. Mr. Wilkes, who was the technical director, that's Maurice Wilkes, was using a second-hand World War surplus Jeep. He needed to replace that Jeep because it needed some spare parts, and he thought we could probably make a better job of this and replace the Jeep by using Rover components and probably actually find a vehicle that would export. So he conceived the vehicle during his holidays around March, April time of 1947 on the beach of Anglesey. He actually sketched what he thought would be a good idea and came back to the workshops here at Solihull, and they produced a couple of prototypes, and that's how Land Rover basically started.
The vehicles, sturdy, reliable, go anywhere, with power takeoff for equipment, rapidly built up a truly global reputation. It seemed there was almost nothing a Land Rover couldn't do and nowhere it couldn't go. But by the early 1960s, there was a call for a faster, less Spartan vehicle, but one that could still go anywhere.
And go anywhere means just that. Go shopping, go visiting, go to work, go to school.
I knew that we got something special. The American market led the way then, and the company was asked to try and produce something for the leisure market that was opening up in America quite quickly. Spen King, who was related to the Wilkes family and also in charge of new vehicle projects, conceived the Range Rover program, and he decided to use coil springs. And not only did that give a fantastic off-road ability, it gave a good on-road ride as well. It led the way to the luxury four-wheel drive business, and the Range Rover that you see today out on the roads is a luxury saloon car, but we've never compromised on its off-road performance in any way.
Land Rovers had always been used in expeditions. The Range Rover continued in the same tradition, and the Trans-Americas expedition in the early 1970s cemented that reputation.
The Range Rovers, from which the snows of Alaska had so recently melted, were moving now at an average of 2.5 miles a day, in a temperature of 90 to 100 in the jungle shade and 85% humidity.
We did the full length of the Americas from Alaska to Tierra del Fuego. It was based on an idea by the British Army that wanted to do the full length of the Americas, and their challenge was to actually traverse the 100 miles of the Isthmus of the Darien, which is between Panama and Colombia. And I joined the expedition towards the end of the jungle part of the exercise to get the vehicles to Bogota in Colombia.
From the start, John Blashford Snell had been concerned about the problem of crossing the Bayano River. 150 yards wide, it flows between jungle-covered banks at over 4 knots.
As the 80s gave way to the 1990s, there came another breed of Land Rover, the Discovery. Not the luxury of the Range Rover, but rather more than the utilitarian Land Rover.
Discovery, designed without compromise for the life customers choose to lead in the 90s.
And in 1997, the range grew again with the Freelander.
A new chapter is being written in the legend of Land Rover. A chapter not just for the 90s, but for the next millennium, meeting a new need for smaller, more accessible 4x4s, which offer a real sense of fun, freedom, and escape. A new Land Rover for a new generation of owners. Freelander.
Land Rover has always helped owners and users to get more out of their vehicles. Thousands have passed through training days.
This is a film about Land Rover driving technique and is intended to inspire the confidence of the driver in himself and in his vehicle. The correct angle will enable each wheel to cross the gap separately.
Today, these training days are carried out under the Land Rover Experience banner. To mark 60 years of Land Rover, Prince Charles paid a special visit to the Solihull plant, meeting workers and praising Land Rover for its commitment to the environment.
What's even more important, I think, is the way in which Land Rover has embraced innovative engineering in order to help tackle the ongoing problem of climate change. and with programs such as your CO2 offset scheme and the new LRX concept vehicle, you really are showing the sort of commitment and real example that is essential to reduce the carbon footprint of global industry and therefore improve sustainability.
So Land Rover is now 60 years old. What does the future hold? Land Rover has now become part of Tata Motors.
We're excited about new ownership. Tata are purchasing Jaguar and Land Rover on the basis of our 5-year business plan. They're investing in us for the long-term future, and we expect to really be able to build on the tremendous platform that we've established over the last few years for the future.
It's been a remarkable 6 decades. Land Rovers have gone all over the world. In many countries, a Land Rover has been the first car many people have seen, in some cases, the only car. For the future, Land Rover leads the way in making off-road vehicles that are environmentally sensitive, but still retain that simple, go-anywhere ethos as the best 4x4 by far.